and my sign language interpreter doing the voicing, Tobias Omondi. On to our first item. President William Ruto has urged member states of the United Nations to advocate for significant reforms within the global body, emphasizing the need for greater democracy and equitable representation. In his address, President William Ruto underscored that the current structure of the UN does not adequately reflect the diversity and aspirations of all its members. He argued that the existing framework, particularly in key decision-making organs, perpetuates a power imbalance that undermines the principles of equality and fairness among nations. President William Ruto also highlighted the reforms are essential to ensure the UN remains relevant and effective in tackling contemporary global challenges for climate change and pandemics to poverty and conflict.
That the reform of the UN is no longer about if, but it is when, and that when is now. Because unless and until we reform the UN, it will continue to remain undemocratic, unrepresentative, and not fit for purpose. And it is the reason why, as we come to this UN at the 80th, we must also be very careful about what the future looks like and how the UN we have to reform the UN Security Council. Africa and our 1.4 billion people must have voice, must be represented. We must reform the international financial architecture so that it represents more, it becomes more representative. We have greater voice, we have greater say, we have greater representation, so that we can deal with the challenges of the world in a manner that respects the views and perspectives.
Moving on to other news. In preparation for the upcoming Mashujaa Day celebrations, Kitui County Commissioner Kipchumba Ruto has spearheaded a high-level security meeting in order to ensure the safety of all attendees. The national event, scheduled for October 20th, 2025, will be held at the newly constructed Ithokwe Stadium. Commissioner Ruto convened a meeting with leaders from various sectors in order to deliberate on comprehensive security plans. The discussions focused on logistical, security, and infrastructural arrangements for the event, which is expected to draw a large crowd, including national dignitaries. The security meeting comes as preparations for the celebration entered their final phase, and during a recent inspection tour, Internal Security Principal Secretary Dr. Raymond Omolo, accompanied by Commissioner Ruto, expressed their satisfaction with the progress of the stadium, which is reported to be 80% complete.
Chairs, these are actually the chairs of the security committees. They'll be able to beef up security to that during that material day, and we are going to protect the life and property, and we are going to ensure that there is peace and security during that material day. Maintenance of law and order will be our business.
Moving on to other news. Parents of students at Endarasha Academy are demanding answers from the school administration following a petition from the fire victims raising serious questions about the safety and management of the institution. And the petition, which has been widely circulated, has ignited outrage and concern among parents who feel that the school has been less than transparent. The petition, filed by a group representing those affected by a past fire incident at the school, alleges negligence and lack of adequate safety measures.
Were cut short during the Endarasha Hillside Academy fire on the 5th of September 2024. So mainly what we are seeking to achieve through the constitutional petition is to hold those that are duty bound accountable to their responsibilities and duties, more so the school, Hillside Endarasha Academy, more so the owners of the school, and more importantly, the Ministry of Education.
We are convinced that there was negligence and that justice needs to be served. We are convinced that someone should be held accountable because someone slept on their job. Because no parent in this country or elsewhere should send their children to school only to receive them in charred form. No one has come to them with answers. We've heard about investigations being done. Even the DNA tests that were conducted, the results were not even brought to them. So these are key stakeholders in this matter, but they have been relegated in a matter that is all too important.
Moving on to the other news, the Orange Democratic Movement is under pressure to ensure fairness and transparency in its upcoming Ugunja constituency party primaries slated for Friday. This comes amid allegations of a plot to rig the nominations in favor of a candidate related to former Member of Parliament and senior government official. A group of ODM members, including candidates and their supporters, have raised a red flag over what they claim are deliberate delays by the party headquarters to address glaring gaps in the nomination process. They fear that these delays are part of a wider scheme to give a nephew of a senior government official an unfair advantage. Speaking in Ugunja town, Engineer Frederick Z.B. Owino, a candidate for the ODM ticket, along with youth leader Emmanuel Odhiambo and women's leader Mary Onyango Nyaudo, called on the party to urgently address these issues.
Regarding the opaqueness in our party, ODM, regarding the Friday 26th September nominations. As we head to the ODM party primaries in Ugunja this Friday, there remains glaring gaps that the party must urgently address to safeguard the integrity of the exercise. These primaries are a defining moment for our constituency, and ODM must ensure transparency, preparedness, and fairness. The new agreed polling centers have not yet been uploaded. The issue of which register will be used and the publication of presiding officers' names remain pending. By now, this information should be in the public domain. In addition, some of the churches that were earlier posted as voting centers have raised concerns. Priests in those areas are complaining that the centers are too concentrated within their compounds, making it very difficult for them to carry out normal church activities. ODM should consider revising or balancing these allocations to avoid unnecessary conflict.
And finally, the agricultural sector in the country is facing increasing pressure to reduce its reliance on chemical fertilizers and pesticides. A growing body of research and expert opinion points to negative long-term effects of these inputs on the soil's health, human health, and of the environment. While the use of fertilizers and pesticides has been credited with boosting crop yields and contributing to food security, particularly for the country's smallhold farmers, a new conversation is emerging around the sustainability of this approach. Experts and policymakers are now advocating for a shift towards a more sustainable farming method such as agroecology and organic farming. And with that story,
EU Green Deal. We have come up with a national traceability system that is managed by the Horticultural Crops Directorate. We believe that when this is activated and is in full operations, together with
And with that, we come to the end of the news. We'll be back with sports news. Stay tuned.